All right, so today we're going to work on some practice stuff, multi-step equations practices. So we're going to use combining like terms, right? And we're going to use distributive property. Okay, so your homework has a lot of problems on it. Your quiz tomorrow is only like 12 problems. Okay, so we're going to do a bunch together. Okay, you're going to have some homework and bring this back completed tomorrow, and you could probably use it as a guide to help you on your test. Okay? All right. So solving each equation. For number 1, do I have to use distributive property there? Or do you see parentheses? No parentheses, so no distributive property. All I'm doing is combining my like terms. When I have a variable by itself, I'm going to go ahead and add a little 1. Makes it easy for me to remember that x has a value. Matthew, you want to join me? So add a little 1 to the x. Matthew? Add a little 1 to the x. Thank you. So now I have a 4x and a negative 1x. Do I have any other like terms? So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to circle this positive 4x, and I'm going to circle this negative 1x. You know what? I want to make sure that I'm getting my value right. 4 is positive. I'm going to write 4x because that's really one term. Negative 1x is negative, so I'm going to write 1x on this side. Which one's smaller, 4 or 1? 1 is smaller, so I'm going to subtract that from this side. What is 4 minus 1? What side is it on? That means it's a positive 3x, so I don't need to write that plus, but I can bring down the rest of my equation. Negative 12. Yes, question? Ooh, you have Elastigirl arms. You can stretch. You're welcome. All right. So now I have this problem. 3 times x is equal to negative 12. What is my inverse operation? How do I undo this multiplication? I want to use division. Good. I want to divide both sides by 3. Right? So 3 divided by 3 becomes 1, right? This becomes 1. But 1 is shy, so we like to let them hide. You can totally write 1x, but you don't have to. Right? So x is going to be equal to, now I have a negative divided by a positive. Good. Plus negative, right? So a negative and a positive is going to give me a negative answer. 12 divided by 3, as Amin said, is negative 4. This here is my answer. That's what I want to box. Right? I want you guys to use the column method to make sure you get your integers right. This is like a big stumbling block for a lot of you. You don't use this, and then you end up with the wrong sign. These tools I've given you, the column method and the pyramid, they will help you make sure that you get the right answer. Okay? If you want to write this in pen, and every time you do it, maybe once on the top, use pencil and then erase it and start over for every problem, you can. You don't have to do a bunch of these little ones. But this is a really good skill. Okay? All right, so that's number 1. I want you guys to go ahead and try number 2 on your own. Do we see any parentheses? So no distribution. It's just combining like terms. Go ahead and try number 2 on your own. And then I'll go over it with you. But for now, I want you to try number 2 on your own. All right, guys, so let's look at this. Because this might throw some of you for a loop, okay? So I have like terms, but my like terms are on the right side this time, right? So I'm going to look over here, and I have a plus 7 and a plus 1. So if I'm using my column method here, right, I have a 7 and a 1. And they're on the same side, so I'm going to add them. They becomes positive 8, okay? So that gives me negative 12 is equal to 5x plus 8. Okay? So I need to move this now. I can't just leave it there. I need to subtract the opposite. Okay? Minus 8, minus 8. This becomes 0, right? Well, now I have two negatives. So if I put them both on this side,
20.
It means I'm adding them. So it becomes a negative 20, right? So negative 20, listen guys, is equal to 5x. I need to divide both sides by 5. So this becomes x is equal to, and I can switch sides, right? A negative divided by a negative gives me a, but is it a negative? It's not a negative, it's positive. So a negative divided by a positive gives me a negative. 20 divided by 5 is 4. X is negative. Oh, look at that. Same answer. Woo!
So I get it right.
Okay, so where are we struggling?
I think I messed up because I put them both. I thought, yeah, I did it wrong on the second part.
Did you do this?
Yeah, I put them in the column.
Okay, but then you forgot to move it over. All right. This is 5. You should. You've had probably the most practice with multi-step equations in here. All right. Oh, we're not even there yet. All right, let's look at number 7. So 3, 4, 5, and 6 are exactly like 1 and 2. Okay, so you have two really good examples. We're going to come back to those. Let's look at number 7. Number 7. What do we see that's different with number 7? We have parentheses. Not these are quotations. This is quotation. These are called parentheses. That's all right. I know. It's not in English class, right? It's math class. All right, so we're going to undo these parentheses by using arrows. Okay? So 8 times 6 gives me what? So I'm going to rewrite my problem as 48. What is 8 times a negative 6? Negative 48. But this time the x tags along. Make sure you bring that x down with you. Sometimes they're in opposite orders. Sometimes the x is going to come before the whole number. But make sure that you multiply each term separately. Okay? And it's going to equal, what is 8 times 6? And then the x tags along. So minus 240. Okay? Now, do I have any like terms that I need to combine? No like terms. They're all separate. But I have this 48 over here that I need to move to this side. So what is the opposite of a positive 48? The opposite of a positive is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 48. Minus 48. And then a minus 48 over here. This becomes 0, right? So I'm going to end up with this negative 48x is going to be equal to, I have to add my two negatives, right? So 240 plus 48 is going to give me negative, right? They say negative, 288. And for this, you might need a calculator. You know, I always let you use calculators. Because I'm cool like that. No, I'm not subtracting now. What am I doing? Oh. I'm dividing. I know you know. So x is going to be equal to a negative divided by a negative. So my answer is going to be positive, right? But I need to do, and you know what? If I have to do it on the side here, 48 into 288, I know that my last number has to end in an 8 for it to work. So no, because 48 doesn't go into 28, so it has to go into 288. So I'm thinking this is close to 50, right? So I'm going to say 2, 3, 4. Let's try 5. No, let's try 6. What's 6 times 8? 48. Carry my 4, right? What's 6 times 4? 24 plus 4 is, oh, look at that, 288. So what is x equal to?
6. -6.
No, positive 6. They're both negatives. Oh, wait. Yeah, positive 6. All right? Okay, I want you guys to do number 8 right now. You guys do number 8, and then we'll do it together, and then we'll look at number 12.
So, we were adding equals for everything?
Yeah. All right, ready? We're going to do number 8. Hannah, we're going to do number 8. So I have a negative 8 times a 5x and a negative 8 times a positive 8. Okay? So remember this one, the number 7, they were opposite, but the position doesn't matter. Okay? You still need to multiply by each term inside the parentheses. So a negative 8 times a positive 5 is going to give me what?
Negative 40x.
Negative 40, and my x tags along. A negative 8 times a positive 8 is going to give me what? Negative 64. Okay, so minus 1. That's good. So now I have a negative here. What do I want to do with this? I'm going to add 64. In order to move this, it's like that scale, right? I need this to become 0. But in order to do that, I need to add it to both sides. So now I have a negative 40x is equal to whatever the sum of this is, which is what? 10, 10, 200. Yeah? Now what do? How do I undo this multiplication? Both sides by what number? By what number? Negative 40. Make sure you're telling me that negative, because a lot of times you guys would just divide by a 40 and you won't put the negative down, and then you do the same thing over here and it changes the value of your number on this side. So this becomes x is equal to, I can cross that off because my zeros can drop. Now I made it easier to divide this number, right? What is 20 divided by 4? So positive or negative? A positive divided by a negative gives me a negative. So my answer is x is equal to negative 5. How many of you guys got that one right on your own? Okay. All right, so let's look at number 12. All right, give you guys some time here to look at number 12. Okay, so this time I have parentheses, so I'm going to start out by doing my multiplication. So I'm drawing my arrows, okay? Negative 4 times v, well, that's super easy. It is negative 4v. Make sure you bring that v along. A negative 4 times a negative 5, so 2 negatives gives me a positive. 4 times 5 is? I'm going to bring down the rest of my equation. Instead of 0 or equals, I have a negative 4v that I want to add. And then equals 84. So before, we would look to just move stuff. Sorry, my pencil's going to lots of right. Burning the pencil out over here. Before, we would move this 20 over. But what do you notice about this? Do I have like terms?
Yeah.
What are my like terms, Hannah? So I have 2 negative 4v's. So I'm going to add these 2 negative 4v's together. And what do they become? Negative 8v. So I've got negative 8v. I'm going to bring down my plus 20 equals 84. Okay. So now I can move this 20. So how do I move this plus 20? Subtract it. I want to do the opposite of what it is, Jordan. So it's positive 20. So I want to subtract minus 20. That's going to be 0. I'm going to bring down this negative 8v, my equal sign. And then now I have a subtraction problem, right? 4 minus 0 is 0. 8 minus 2 is 6. So far, so good? How do I undo this multiplication here? Oh, you're right. Thank you, Matthew. 4 minus 0 is 4. I said 4 minus 0 is 4, and I wrote 0. Who knew? So how do I undo this? By what? Negative 8. Don't forget the negative. Now I have a positive divided by a negative. What kind of answer am I going to get? we already know that 8 times 8 is what? 64. So 64 divided by 8 is negative 8. We good? Yeah, okay, so, and that's why I'm telling you guys, use that triangle, even if you're putting it up in pen or something, and then you're just erasing. So you would have known that a positive divided by a negative would give you a negative answer.
I got wrong. I got what we're doing, and then I didn't see the negative b plus 20, so I saw the positive, so I got mixed up.
Yeah, so big thing, big mistake you guys make all the time is not recognizing that negative and that positive. So use the tools, use the column method like we did up here. Okay, use that little triangle to help you figure out if that answer when you're multiplying is going to be negative or positive. Oh, I'm sorry, Sharon. Here you go. Got it? Wrong side. Okay. All right, so take some time right now and work on 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 11. And then we'll flip the page over because we're going to have a little bit more practice. And this is really good practice, guys. You guys really need to practice this because your quiz tomorrow will have this. And what should you bring to class with you tomorrow? Yeah, bring this. Bring your practice. This is going to help you. I will let you use it on your test so that it can give you examples of what you're learning. You guys got this? I need to flip this over. All right, before you guys have a heart attack, flip your paper over. I'm going to give you some instructions that are going to be very, very important to you. Flip your papers over, okay? Everybody see this incredible amount of work on the back side? Come on, Laudo, flip your paper over. Okay, whoa, looks like a lot of work, right? No, I want you to cross off the even numbers, and you're only going to solve the odd ones. Odds only on the back side. Okay, I want the entire front side done. Odds only on the back side. Does that help you guys out a little bit? Well, you can do them all if you want. It's a lot of work though. So, tell you what. Laudo says, do we have to not do the evens? I don't know. You don't not have to, but do the odds first, and then if you have time, you can do the evens. We'll see. It's definitely going to be helpful for you for solving your test. All right. And in fact, you guys ready? You guys still flipped over? Let's look at the problems. Ready? I'm going to give you the answers. So I want to make sure that when you solve your problem, you have the correct answer. Ready? So number 13. You ready? Number 13. The answer is going to be, write it off to the side here, negative 8. Number 15. The answer is negative 8. Number 17. The answer is positive 8. 17 is positive 8. Number 19. The answer is, oh, look at that. My hand's in the way. Negative 8. I don't know. And right as you say that, number 21, the answer is 7. Positive. Number 23, the answer is 6. And number 25, the answer is 5.